Hello, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm Gemma and this is the third part of a tutorial blog for making a Celtic style woven beaded necklace. You'll see the image at the top of the blog, and unfortunately I don't have that particular piece, so we've been constructing it stage by stage, starting with the clasp, which was stage 1, then the plaited weave, which was stage 2, where you learn how to plait the threads in such a way as to secure the beads within that design. And now we're moving on to stage 3, which is to create the drop style part of the pendant of the necklace, which looks like a Celtic design. I've switched to a different necklace now because after 5 attempts at filming this tutorial, my threads finally gave up the ghost, so I've had to start with a fresh design, but that just shows you another variation on the theme anyway, so I think it works quite well really. We're at the stage where we've got both sides of our necklace plaited. Hopefully you're with me on this. So we're at this stage where we've got the clasp attached and 2 sides of our necklace have plaited with beads in them. And now we're left with all these threads. And I think if I work here, that should be about right for you. So we need to combine all these messy strands into an attractive way. So arrange your strands so that your three strands are together first, like this. So you've got a top, a middle and a bottom. And you should have the same on the other side. Top, a middle and a bottom. So first we're going to combine the tops to pull our necklace into the right shape. Can you see that? So what I need to do is I need to take the top 2 threads from this side, and I'm going to thread on a large agate, black agate here, and that's going to form really the centre, and hopefully this will sit sort of just in a dimple of your neck, which should be lovely. And then I'm going to do, it's like you're working in mirror image, so you're going to take the same the twin strands from the other side, so the top 2 strands, these, and you're going to take them through that agate bead in the other direction. There we go. And pull. So there's those combined now. Okay. You don't have to follow this pattern at all. You or I might see something totally different and think, oh, I need another bead here, or I need one there. But that's, that's the beauty of this technique. It does evolve as it goes along. Right, now I want to combine the middle 2, and I can see what's going to happen is these are going to come down into a teardrop shape. So you can sort of see where you're going to need beads. So I think I'm going to take these 2 and combine them, but in order to give me that graduated circle then that's going to sit nicely around the neck, I'm going to put some extra beads on here. So here I'm going to place, I'm going to use rice beads. It's nice to vary the shape, but I am really working on what I've got, so what I've got in at the moment. So I'm going to put, like again, what I said is a mirror. So you're taking the middle strands and you're going to mirror what you've just done here and thread on another rice bead. Okay, there. So those are sitting there, and I'm going to cross these 2. I'm going to join these because they're still separate strands at the moment. They're still separate, if you see. So what I need to do is I need to cross them through a bead. So I'm going to take another little zebra jasper here, little round, the same as I've used in the necklace, and I'm going to thread it onto one strand and then mirror that. So I'm going to take the middle strand from the other side, go through the same bead in the opposite direction. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to pull this in together. And keep fiddling as you go to see the symmetry. of your piece and see how it's working. Okay, so now there you can see we've sort of starting to form a pattern, and keep pulling it in to your, this will be your sort of resting design at the end. Now actually that's quite nice like that. You could leave it like that and have quite an open design, or you can keep adding as we're going to. Right, so if you remember what we did with the plait, where we trapped the beads in place by splitting the two threads and then bringing them back together, we're going to do exactly the same here, because this is a lovely design with a lot of open work, open spaces, and what we don't want is we want our beads to stay where they intended. So we're going to do the same with these wires. We're going to split them and then join them, bring them back together. So these we can see already are sort of have got room to move around, and it would be nice to trap these beads in place. So we're going to split these wires. So I'm going to take one of the wires, these are the ones that are coming through the large agate at the top. I'm going to split those. I'm going to take one under where we've just threaded the rice bead and leave one over the top. There we go. And they're back together again. Okay, and do the same on the other side, like the mirror again. Under where we've put the rice bead, and bring them back together. Okay, so that's going to trap that rice bead there. Can you see? That's going to trap it. Right. We need to do a bit more adjusting again because they seem to come loose. There we go. Okay. Now then. So now, bringing it back down and having another look, I think we need to attach these two now. We need to bring these two together because these are still floating, not joined. So I'm going to see, I can see that we're going to need a bead sort of here and here. So again, I'm going to use a rice bead. I'm going to put one on this side. This is now what we called in the early stage of this tutorial the bottom thread. Again, mirroring, doing it on the other side as well. Both threads through the rice bead there. Okay. Okay, so you can see we want to trap that bead too, so we'll split those in a minute. So now I'm going to pull these together, and these are the ones that are going to sort of run through the centre of the piece. So what I've found, you can use a round or any bead that you like, but I'm using a teardrop shape, and that's going to echo the shape that we're going to eventually create. So I'm going to thread this teardrop on to all 4 strands now, because we've brought the 2 lower strands together. I'm going to pop them through. Okay, and that's looking quite nice. And again, try and keep your symmetry as you go. It's easier than trying to work out which thread belongs where at the end. Okay, there we go. So now, if we pull these back round to have another look, you can see that's working quite nicely. And you can also see that these threads, because we've done one over the top and one underneath, they're now, these two here particularly, they're separating, and we don't really want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the one that went over the top of this thread and take it under the next one down. And the one that went underneath, I'm going to bring back up through. So there's like, I'm not sure what to call this, but it's almost like weaving. Okay, so that's brought them together. Can you see they're not separating now? So we'll do the same on the other side. One underneath. The one that was over the top of that one underneath the next one. And the one that was underneath, we're going to bring over the top. Remembering to trap the right beads, not the ones that were in the plait. Okay, There we go. So here it is coming together. Okay, and again, these ones, they're both lying on the top, so we want to take one strand underneath and one strand. This side appear the same underneath. There we go. Okay, so if your eyes are doing the same as mine, I'm thinking we definitely need more beads on there because it's looking too open for me at the top, at the bottom part of the drop here. So I'm going to thread 2 little rounds, one here and one there. That should fill that gap. So I'm going to use the zebra jasper like in the plait and put one on this side and exactly the same on the other side. Okay, so that's forming there, and then I think we need something on this side too, so I'm just going to thread on another little rice bead. Very much threads, there we go. So the threads that are on the outside, the outermost threads, I'm going to thread on a little rice bead, and the same on the other side. There we go. Okay, and I think that's it complete. That's all we need on there. Then I'm going to bring all these strands together. Now, if you've got a bead large enough to take all 12 strands, fantastic. It's a really nice, it finishes the piece really nicely. So, here we go. You see how that's working nicely together. I'll bring those down. I'm going to tighten this up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull those two in, that one in slightly, so pushing that one up, and then pull these in tighter. Okay, and that's going to keep those beads locked in where they should be as well. You can see these threads need pulling. You'll need to fiddle a bit at this stage to make sure you've got the symmetry right. I think that's looking about right. Okay, so now we're here. If you, like I said, if you did have a bead that would take all 12 strands, great, thread it on now, and that would form a nice bottom to your pendant. You can even use jewellery glue if you like, and that would secure it. But I'm going to finish this with a wire coil. So if I just hold that tight, I've got some red wire here because that's the colour of my strands. So I'm going to take off a length of that. This is a 0.4 copper base wire. It's nice and soft and it's coated with metallic red. So I've cut off 25 centimetres maybe. I won't need all that, but it's better to have more. It's easier on the fingers when you've got more, to be honest. Right, so I'm going to pull these together again. Try and get the symmetry right. Okay, there we go. So pull them together. I'm going to knit them really tight with my fingers. And I'm going to bring my fingers back down slightly. I'm going to eventually have the wrap starting sort of just off the tip of this bead. But I'm going to start a little bit lower down. So I'm going to take the wire perhaps 7 or 8 centimetres in and fold it around. So we're going to make our first loop. You need to do this quite firmly. So really pull it round. Okay, so I've got one coil going round now, that's gripping it for me. And then pull this one towards the pendant and wrap upwards first, so upwards towards the pendant. Okay. So we've got a few wraps on there. I'm just going to pull it up slightly. At this stage you can still adjust whether it's too high or too low. I'm going to put it down a little bit. There we go, I think that's about right. So that's that side done. Okay, and now when we come to wrapping this downwards, what we want to do is we don't want our spiral to just end abruptly because it feels unfinished. So what I tend to do is I stagger the cuts of these wires, of these beading threads. So here I will take, I don't know, 3 or 4 beading threads and cut them quite close to the coils that you've already made. Okay, so cut those there, and then I go down a couple of millimeters and cut 2 or 3 more, and then down a few more millimeters and cut 2 or 3 more. Okay, and then a little more, and then leave 2 on the end. That's just for you to hold on to. Okay, what that does is it tapers it staggers, the cuts stagger, so then you should get a more tapered spiral or coil. So then take your wire and continue wrapping all the way. You can see that spiral's getting smaller as the threads get fewer underneath it. Okay, so there we go. Keep going until we get to that last thread that we cut. Keep pulling it round, and you can always push it up with your thumbnail or your pliers if it starts coming apart. Right, so now I'm hardly wrapping anything. I've almost run out of threads. Okay, so the spiral is tapered off now to a really tiny little point, which is perfect. Okay, and one last wrap. There we go. And I think that tapers it nicely. And then I'm just going to cut them all off, all the ends. Take your flat nose pliers and just nip in that wire on the end there. Okay, and then cut that last little piece. Now, a lot of people tend to tuck their wires around the back of the piece and then cut them, but I tend to cut mine at the front, and I know that seems a bit odd, but what it does is it stops any aggravation to the skin, or you don't want to cut your skin or make it feel quite uncomfortable. So I'm just going to cut that off, sort of off to the side. Not bang smack in the centre, but just off to the side, and then just press that down and tuck it in. There you go, there's no sharp edges there at all now. Okay, and there's your finished Celtic design, or Celtic weave pendant style necklace. I hope that was fairly easy to follow. It's definitely more complicated than it less complicated than it looks, sorry. And just have fun with it, have a play with it, and remember to try and trap your beads by weaving your wires, and then your design should stay in place. Just hold this up. There we go. I don't know if you can see it, it's not a very good background, but it's a really, really gorgeous looking piece. Quite eye-catching, and any time I wear the one that is now that I don't have anymore, I get comments on it, so I'm sure you'll have the same outcome. Right, thanks for watching, and please keep your eyes open for more tutorials, and if you've got anything that you'd like to see me demonstrate, then please email me and let me know, and I'll endeavour to get them on here. Thank you, bye bye.